The exercise that almost started World War III. In November 1983, NATO began a top-secret military exercise, codename Able Archer 83. It was meant to simulate a nuclear war, but to the Soviet Union, it looked terrifyingly real. As Western bombers took off and encrypted messages filled the air, Moscow saw not a drill, but a prelude to Armageddon. What if a training exercise became the spark that ended civilization? The perfect storm of fear. The Cold War had reached its breaking point. Just months earlier, the Soviets shot down a Korean passenger jet, killing 269 people, including an American congressman. U.S. President Ronald Reagan called the USSR an evil empire. A new Pershing 2 missiles in Europe could strike Moscow in minutes. To the Kremlin, the West seemed ready for a first strike. So when NATO suddenly went radio silent during Able Archer, Soviet generals feared. The end had begun. Inside the war game. Able Archer was designed to test how NATO would transition from conventional war to nuclear release. New coded messages, realistic communications, even heads of state participation, for the first time. To Soviet intelligence, these weren't simulations. They were signals. They believed nuclear launch codes were being distributed, and deep within Moscow's bunkers, the nuclear forces went on high alert. The line between exercise and execution was disappearing fast. The KGB's worst nightmare. Years before, the KGB had launched Operation Ryan, a massive intelligence effort to detect signs of an imminent NATO nuclear strike. Agents in Europe were ordered to report even the smallest hint of attack: blood donations, troop movements, unusual flights. During Able Archer, all the signs matched their worst fears. Missiles were ready, bombers were loaded, leaders were in command bunkers. And so, the Soviets prepared to strike first. One wrong interpretation, and the world would have vanished in fire. How close we came. As Able Archer unfolded, Soviet nuclear bombers were armed and fueled. Ballistic missile submarines left port. And in East Germany and Poland, nuclear warheads were moved to launch sites. Western leaders had no idea. To them, it was just another drill. But for 48 hours, the world stood one miscommunication away from annihilation. The most dangerous moment of the Cold War. And almost no one knew it was happening. The moment that saved the world from World War III. Then, the exercise ended. No missiles were launched, no commands were given, and the Soviets stood down, quietly, cautiously. Later, declassified documents revealed that a few Soviet officers, veterans of 1962's Cuban Missile Crisis, urged restraint. They'd seen how easily fear could destroy reason. Their hesitation once again saved humanity. For a few tense days, the fate of the world depended not on presidents, but on men who refused to believe the worst. When fear becomes policy, Able Archer changed everything. When Reagan learned how close the Soviets had come to launching, he was shaken. He wrote in his diary, "We are closer to nuclear war than we know." That realization led to new diplomacy, and eventually, arms reduction talks with Gorbachev. Fear had nearly ended the world, but it also forced both sides to step back from the brink. Sometimes survival depends not on strength, but on the moment you finally decide to talk. Final reflection and next episode. Able Archer wasn't a battle, but it might have been the closest we've ever come to World War III. It showed how fragile peace can be when fear, code, and miscommunication collide. The Cold War's deadliest moments didn't always happen on the battlefield. Sometimes they began with a mistake. But what if the next threat doesn't come from a misunderstanding, but from a machine that no one controls? Episode 4, AI and the Next Doomsday, when algorithms choose war. Thank you for watching, and see ya.